Welcome to our first Three Girls, One Deck of 2024. I nearly said 2023 then. And I remembered we're in a whole new year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Happy Lunar New Year.
New Year, yes.
Yeah. Year of the Dragon, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Year of the Dragon.
It is. It is, yes.
Is it a quick...
Is it water dragon or is it earth dragon, or do we know? Nobody knows.
I don't know.
Okay, well then never mind.
I guess my Asian card's revoked. I have no freaking clue.
Get that away from me. Hi to everybody who is joining us live. We've got Beth, Aspasia Rising, Kristen, Crazy Bunny Lady. I think I've missed a couple. Clementia, hello everybody. And for everybody who's joining us in the catch-up, hello as well. Oh, Maria, hello Maria. So today we're going to talk about the decks that we want to work with in 2024. And we very politely decided with no dice, no Kai Bai Bo, no nothing this time. And Sarah is going to go first. So we can jump right in, I guess.
Jump right in. Awesome. Okay, well, I will start. I actually have only one tarot to talk about and potentially two oracles. We'll see how far we get because we all brought several decks and we'll just kind of like see how this goes. But from a tarot standpoint, the tarot I am most excited to work with this year. And because it is February, in all honesty, I actually did start working with it already this month, but I'm already having a great experience with it. And so that is the Tarot of Oneness. And I got the mini edition. This is a deck that had been kind of like on my wish list for a while, and I had just kind of like never gotten around to it. And then the mini version came out and I was like, well, now the decision's made for me. So
come on.
So this is a really cool deck. This is by Robin Voicey. I think I'm not positive that's how you pronounce her name, but I don't know. Probably a lot of you guys might have seen this deck before. But it's a deck that, like, very much from a tarot standpoint, it puts you into the position of the figure on the card. So like you can see this is the Knight of Wands, and you can see that the shadow of the person on the horse is down here. So it's like you're the person riding the horse, like it's just
so it was made for you then.
right, like this is another deck. This is so me, like this is so me. So I have been like, look at the Seven of Cups, and you're like laying in a hammock and there's all these like dreams in the sky, and like it's just a really, really cool deck. So I did start working with it so far in February. So spoiler alert, when we do our Three Girls One monthly catch up next month, I will be talking about this one. But it's honestly like really intelligently done in terms of the symbolism and that feeling of actually like putting you into the card, and like you are actually experiencing what's going on in the card. Like it makes it a really good, I don't know, so far it's just felt like working with it has been a very kind of like internal self-examination kind of experience, and the oracle that I've been using it with has also felt that way. So it's just really, really, really worked out well. And the other thing that I love about this deck too is the way that it has changed up. Like, I don't know if you can see, but it says Action of Swords. The knights are called the Action of Swords. And so the court cards all have like non-gendered terms for the court card. So it's the Spirit for the Queen. So here's the Spirit of Wands, and the Embodiment for the King, which I really like because that really kind of coincides very well with the way that I personally read the court cards, where the Queen is the energy of the suit turned inward, and the King is the energy of the suit turned outward. So embodiment makes a lot of sense, and then the Page is the inspiration. So it's a really like nice nice choices as far as, and it reminds me a lot of the way that it was done in the oh my god, the deck that I used to love that I just recently sold, and now I'm like, why am I blanking on the name of it? Oh my god.
That you love that you recently just sold.
You need to give us a bit more.
The Naked Heart tarot. Oh my god. I just had like the first brain part.
We need a clue.
I was like, it's full of animals, and it was visually like, oh, the Naked Heart. Anyway, it reminds me. Harriet. I'm sorry.
I wondered what that was.
What is she doing?
Is
she doing this, like one of these things?
She's like rubbing her paws on the door of one of my cabinets over here.
Oh.
Anyway. So that was so much. Sorry about that. But anyway, so this is a really, really wonderful deck. And I really enjoy its take on all of the card meanings and yeah, it's wonderful. I love that it has a bear and the strength card. It's so good. So yeah.
Very cool.
I agree.
Yeah, and
it does have a very spacious tarot feel.
It does.
It does. Of people perspective.
It totally does. Yeah, I completely agree. So, and the artwork is beautiful. It's really, really well done. The mini version has these cute, like peach matte edges, and it's just a great deck. So I've really, really been enjoying this one so far. So that is my first deck.
Sarah, do you have the Spacious Tarot?
I do. I love the Spacious Tarot.
Oh, okay. So do you find yourself making comparisons between the two?
I honestly don't, because again, the Spacious Tarot is very non-people focused, and this is much more people focused, and they just, I don't know, they have to me it's like there's a similar kind of perspective in terms of like the feeling that it's kind of putting you inside the scene, but the Spacious Tarot just feels so like nature oriented to me that they, I mean, there's definitely similarities, but they both feel like they're different enough that they fit in my collection. So, but yeah, love them both. They're really cool. So there's a 5 of Pentacles. So it's just
really pretty.
It's just a really cool deck in the way that it's done. I really, really like it. So
there's also an art style I really like as well.
Yeah, I mean, the sun, I guess I'm the naked baby in this scenario, but like, it's still like really good on the card.
That was a weird place to go, but all right.
I get it.
Like, I'm the one on the horse, I guess. So anyway, but yeah, and especially the knights are so cool with the shadow of the person on the horse. It's just like a really cool way of doing it. So anyway, that is the Tarot of Oneness, the mini edition. So
cool.
Whoa.
Yeah. All right, I think I'm next, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this one I know I've shown before. No, this one I haven't shown before. Just because this one's new. Let's start off with this one. This one I just got. It was a gift, and I don't think it's well known. It's a majors only deck, and it's just Tarot 22 major arcana, because I don't think this is like really well known. I think it was a gift, and she had gotten it at like a fair, like a craft show or type of fair convention and it's by Naoshi. And I actually have 2 other majors only decks. So this would be my third. And I actually have not a lot, but several spreads that I'd written down in my journal that uses major, just the majors in a deck. And so I was thinking that maybe this year I would try to play around a little more with majors only, and like this. Okay, first of all, this is huge, like huge.
Yeah.
And I love it.
It's huge.
I
it's
love
the
it
same
so
size as your head.
Yeah. So here's standard, and this is
Jeez. Okay, so that's like full on, like
full on.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love
it.
And I wish this had like all 70, 70, but that would have been a huge deck. But I love the size. I love the gloss. I'm in a gloss mood right now. And it is definitely like a Julie deck, because I mean, look at it. It's quirky, it's colorful. It's still in order because I haven't used it yet. But
okay, that's very fun. I love
isn't it?
People are like really quirky looking in a way that I enjoy. That's fun.
Yes.
They look a bit like your dolls, but
exactly, which is why. Yes, my friend knows me so well. Yes, this is really so like it just makes me happy looking at them. And it's a clone, and I'm fine with it, but just cloned with like just little little embellishments that are quirky and weird, and just details that are fun, and not taking anything seriously. So I yeah, I'm just excited to think of ways to work with this one. Just, maybe work like this actually gives me like, what is it? Wandering Star.
Wandering Star. Yeah. The Wandering Star.
This kind of gives me a little bit of that.
Mhm.
But yeah, this was a bit of an inspiration to be like, oh, actually I have other majors only decks. And I would love to find some fun ways to use those this year. So, and this one, I actually love how gigantic it is, and I just really love everything about it. So I'm just
Will
gonna.
you do a video on how you use majors only decks? Because I've never owned a majors only deck. Or
Okay, so I was gonna
work with them.
ask if any of you or anybody in the live chat, you have any majors only decks and that you, ways in which you use them, because yeah, I have spreads and I have used them in the past. I just, that was maybe a few years ago, and then I kind of forgot about it because I don't have very many. They're just so cute. They're so adorable. And so yeah, if you want, I can try to maybe make a video and share some spreads or something like that. But yeah, I think
there's at least one vote for yes.
Yeah, there's that we got a vote for yes. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I definitely don't see that in a lot of videos in terms of people's practices using majors only. But no, I think there's a place. I think there could be a place for that, and so I'd like to explore that more. Given that I now have 3 total. Well, one was a like a DIY. I made myself using like He-Man and She-Ra.
That's right.
Yes, yeah,
that's great. You're
yeah, and I still have it. I still love it so much, and so I'm really wanting to look for ways to use. So if anybody has any ideas in the live, or please, or if anybody watching the playback, drop in the comment below.
Yeah, this is same as me. I don't buy majors only because I don't know how to use them.
Yeah, and I don't either. I mean, the one that I had just made myself just for the fun of it, and I'm not going to find 78 images of He-Man. Like, I just wasn't going to do that. So I settled for 20, 22. But
girl, we did it with BTS. Come on.
That is true.
Yeah, that is true.
I had help. Okay.
And YouTube virtually had no sleep. I slept.
Yeah.
Help
and lack of sleep. So and then this one and the other one I have, they were both gifted to me. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with just grabbing a full deck and then taking the majors out. Like, there's not necessarily any reason to buy a majors only. But this is so freaking cute, and I really wish this person would just full out make a full deck. I would love that so much. But
that's kind of giving me like a little bit. What is it? The Tarot del Fuego vibes. It's giving me a little bit like Kitty Kahane vibes. It's getting like a little bit like all of those sort of like quirky. I really like that. That's really
I do too. It lifted my spirits, and I'm just like, okay, I need to find a way to use this. I really do. So
can you show again what it is, even though it's like completely unidentifiable?
It is. It's called. Is this reflecting the right way to you?
Yes.
Okay. Tarot 22 Major Arcana. That is literally the name of this thing.
What's the name of the
tell how kind of. Sorry.
What's the name on the bottom? If it begins with an
her
N.
name is by. I think it's
now
she.com. So there's a website if anybody's interested in going and.
So that is the artist's name, and they are so talented. I love it so much. So excited about that. So that is my first one.
Awesome.
Oh, goddesses.
Goddesses.
Altar cards. Yeah, that's another way I've thought of too, certainly. At the very least, I can use them as altar cards for sure. But
oh, okay. Main card pull from a different deck, and then 4 major cards for messages from air, fire, water, and earth. Okay, that's interesting.
That's cool too.
I like that.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you. All right. Heather's next, right?
Yeah. So mine is also the deck that I'm working with right now. spoiler alert. And it's also a deck that I've shown before, because the first deck that I'm really keen to work on this year is actually the Robin Wood Tarot, which I have worked with loads. It has been around loads, and I am generally very, very familiar with this deck. I know I've talked about it before, but when I first got this deck, I did like my own deep dive where I excuse me, I literally went through every single card and wrote down everything I could see in the card, all the different colors, all the different feelings that it brought up and stuff. And so in theory, I should be like pretty cool with this. But my friend bought me Robin Wood's book for Christmas. And so I'm really, really looking forward to like pulling out all of my old notes and stuff and going through her notes on why she chose all the stuff that she did and how it matches up with the thoughts that I had around this deck. And so today, again, that's just a side note, but I pulled the Wheel of Fortune as my daily card. So I was reading it, and she was talking about the little ball that goes around the outside of the roulette wheel. And I was like, wait, there's a little ball that goes outside? Like, is there? And so I had to have a look. And for the amount of time I've had this deck and how long I've spent with it, I'd never noticed that before. It was something that was so outside of my like vision for one reason or another, that it's stuff like that. So I'm kind of deep diving with it again in February, going through all the cards. If I draw a card for the daily draw, I'm reading it, comparing it to my own notes, spending some time with it. And I'm not really using it for readings as such right now. It's more about like going back over every single card and falling in love with it all over again. I think I'm at that point where if you took all my cards away from me, this is the one I would fight the hardest to keep right now. So
yeah,
it's a bit of a short and sweet one, my first one. It's like, it's a deck we've all seen 100 times before, which is good because it's really shiny and you can't see it very well in the light anyway. But yeah, so that is my first deck for 2024 that I'm working with.
I hear great things about that book. A lot of people really, really like that book. Yeah.
I mean, it's good. It's much more detailed than I was expecting. She literally describes every single thing in the image and has a reason why every single thing is there, which is like just gives you a whole new level of appreciation for the deck, because it's even as simple as like the king or the emperor has got his cloak is a particular color and his buckle is square for a reason, and it's got a circle inside it for a reason, and the color, the gem in the circle was picked for a specific reason. And it's just the level of detail is immense. It's just immense. It must have taken so long to put this deck together. Really.
Yeah. That's a big reason I think why this is the deck that really taught me how to read tarot back in the day, because I had this deck and I had that guidebook, and that guidebook, just like, even if you don't remember every single detail, just reading the entry about the card from the guidebook like triggers so many things. And you like, when you look at the card the next time, you're like, oh, that's, it makes it so that every little thing in the image is sparking some kind of meaning, even if you can't remember what the specific meaning was. Like, it's just, I don't know. So I think that book is a big reason why this was like my learning deck, above all others, because that guidebook just gives you so much information about the image and how to read the image and what everything means. So
yeah, I mean, every card has at least 2 pages. Some even have 3. It's so and it's just pages and pages of writing. It's so much information. It's really, really impressive. I mean, this is also the deck I learned on, but I had, is it Anthony Lewis, Tarot Plain and Simple? And the pictures in that book is also the Robin Wood Tarot. So that connection was there, but not in the same way as when you introduce this book into the mix as well. It's like giving me a whole other level with these cards that I never thought I would find, because I've had them and used them for so long.
Very cool. So is this a book? Because it's funny, Maria Luisa was saying that, she has the book, but not the deck. Would you say this would be a book that could be kind of like a 101 that you could
Yes,
read?
because although the images are it's specifically talking about why she's chosen those images in that particular card.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that she's chosen is relative to the meaning of that card.
Mm-hmm.
So you could use the book as a way of understanding the card without actually having the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And could you apply that to, say, any deck, like any like RWS, like the broader understanding of?
Yeah. So that's what I mean. So yes, the Emperor in another deck might not have the particular brooch, but by understanding that he has this brooch, it adds an extra level of meaning to the card.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, I have always said that guidebook is like my gold standard for an artist explaining their thought process behind their artwork. Like I've never seen another guidebook that does it in that level of detail and specificity. It's a pretty amazing guidebook. So.
It's also it's quite amusing when you read her like introduction at the beginning, and she only wrote it so people would stop asking her questions about her deck. She's like, people are constantly asking me why this and why that and why, so I wrote a book.
Smart. But Sarah, you had the Star Tarot for a time, didn't you?
I did, yes.
I mean, because that book is also substantial.
It is very.
How would you do it? And you would say that Robin Wood's guidebook still wins.
I mean, part of it's because I like the Robin Wood deck better. And again, the Robin Wood deck was like my foundational learning deck. That's the deck that I learned tarot from, really. But I would, the Star Tarot is very detailed and specific about the symbols and the cards. It's very, very good. But when we say how like specifically detailed, like what Heather described about the cloak is this color, the brooch is this shape, the gem is this color, like every little solitary, teeny tiny thing in there is discussed. And it's, it just gives you a lot to work with. So,
The only thing I would say about this is Robin Wood is Wiccan. And so some of the choices that she makes and some of the ways that she chooses to talk about the choices that she's made are very obviously from the perspective of somebody who is Wiccan. And but she's very open and upfront about that. I've picked this because to me it symbolizes the goddess, and that's how we work in my tradition, kind of thing. But I think that's the only thing I would say to people going in, is that there is an element of that throughout the choices that she's made, but it doesn't take away that from how well the choices still fit with the meaning of the card.
Right. And that's just something about the Robin Wood in general. I mean, if when you start working with the Robin Wood and looking at the images and all of that kind of stuff, it's like that's one of the reasons why I gravitated toward that deck early on, is just because it very obviously was not the same Christian imagery that you see in the RWS. And so but yeah, it is very specifically Wiccan. So, which I am not, but it's still.
No, me neither. But it doesn't affect how good the book is and how useful, I think.
And it doesn't feel overwhelming. Like, I mean, I guess not, because you've had the deck for how many years, and so like reading the book for you is, because I just wonder, when I remember when I first got the Star Tarot, reading that book, it's an amazing book, and also had to take some breaks. I'm like, okay, well, there I'm gonna pull back a little bit, because this is a lot. So yeah, I guess
it's not which is very unusual for me, because I have this thing about books where I have to, regardless of what they are, I have to start them at the beginning and I have to read them to the end in order, generally, even if they're like reference books. Or it's just a thing that I have. But with this one, I'm finding that I'm not doing that. Because I'm just trying to sit down and read it as a book. I don't know how useful I personally would find that. So instead, when I draw a card, I'm specifically just looking up that card and spending time with that card and that entry. And then the book goes away, and then the next day I draw my card of the day and I pull the book out again. So I think I don't think I would read it if I was just trying to read it through on its own, separate from having something.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Honestly, it would be boring because, like, unless you have the card in front of you to look at and like pay and like literally compare the description to the card, it's not. I mean, it's like
that makes sense.
Yeah, it works if you have the card in front of you and you're like comparing it. Like I said, it still can be like a sort of general guidebook, but you're going to get the most out of it
if you have the deck.
Yeah,
that's the same with the Star Tarot too. It's like for sure. Okay,
lovely. So I think we're back on to Sarah then.
All right, cool. Okay, well, so this one is kind of interesting because this has to do with a goal for something that I want to do this year, and we'll see how it goes. But I decided that I wanted to do a Deckin walk this year, which is going to overlap a little bit with me finishing up the Holoquest course. So we'll see how it goes. But I bought this is 36 Secrets. It's a T. Susan Chang book, right? Like, so I got the book, and then there was a Kickstarter last year for a deck that was basically an Oracle deck where there was a card for every Deckin, and it's this deck. It's called the Wild Way Oracle, and because I had that goal of doing the Deckin walk this year, I backed the Kickstarter because I thought it would be fun to have the deck. I don't know yet how well like the keywords and stuff in this deck correspond to like what the book is going to tell me or anything like that. So we're just going to have to see how it goes. But basically this deck has a card for every Deckin. So like here's Aries 1, and it has some keywords for that Deckin. And then the illustrations are so adorable.
I'm already obsessed with this deck, and I've seen one card.
What did you say, Heather?
I said I'm already obsessed with this deck, and I've seen one card.
Like it's so like look, this is Aries 2. Take
oh my god, it's so
and
cute.
This is Aries 3. Feed your dreams. And so I mean, okay, look at. I'm sorry, but like look at this mole. Like it's so cute. So I literally just backed this deck being like, you know what? Like, I want to do a Deckin walk. This deck is friggin' adorable. I'm going to get it. Like, I'm sure I'll just like use it as like an altar card or, that kind of idea, like as I'm going through my Deckin walk. But I loved it so much that I couldn't not have it. I mean, it's it's beautiful. The illustrations are so lovely. And again, I don't know how well yet the keywords correspond and everything like that, but we'll see how it goes. But honestly, it's just a really, really lovely deck. And the other thing that this deck has too, it has the cards for all of the Deckins, and then it also has let me come to the end here. It has additional cards for each of for the Wheel of the Year. So there's like Ostara, Beltane. Look at Litha. Look at how cute this is. So basically it gives you like, you can use it as an oracle, or you can just use it as like basically a set of cards to just like have out over the course of the year to kind of encapsulate the energy of that particular time of the year, and so that's why I got this. I just thought this would make it really fun to kind of like an extra fun thing to help me go through the Deckin walk, and it's just a really, really sweet, lovely deck. So that is my goal for working with this one this year. So I'll be starting in March, obviously, with Aries 1, and I'm excited about it. So, interesting. Okay, cool. 36 faces. Okay, interesting.
I've not heard of that book before. I
haven't either.
Yeah, I haven't either. I know the T. Susan Chang one. That's yeah. So anyway, that's my another one of the decks that I'm very excited to work with this year. So I've got everything's marked on my calendar, and I'm ready to go. So we'll get started in March.
Very cool.
Oh, that deck is adorable.
It's just like I mean, there's
that's really cute.
Wild boar, like this spider doesn't even bother me. I mean, like it's it's so sweet. It's just anyway. And the backs are beautiful. Like it's just like this. It's got foil. I mean, it's it really is a beautiful deck. It turned out wonderfully, and I am super happy to have this, and I think it's just going to be a fun deck to have to work with while I go through that whole process, which we'll see how it goes. So
yeah, I always go back and forth on the whole Deccan walk, but you know me and just kind of like astrology based things.
I also have the book because Sarah has decided last year that every time she sends me a gift, it's going to be homework.
It was on the wish list. It was on the wish list. I gave it to you because it was.
As we will see as we go through this video.
Yes, I do have like a terrible habit of giving Heather homework every time I give her a gift. So she always has something on her wish list, and I'm like, "Ooh, sweet, that's something I've been doing. Let's get Heather to do it too." So then we can be Holoquest buddies, or we can be Deckin walk buddies, or like whatever it is. I'm like always giving her. So it's the Wild Way Tarot, or Wild Way Oracle, I should say. Yeah. So, and it was a Kickstarter. I don't know what the status is of like what's available now, but I feel the Kickstarter got sent out like late last year, like a little bit before Christmas, I want to say something around there. So so I don't know if there's like other copies for sale or like where it is available right now, but it's just like, oh my gosh, look at this.
Oh,
I mean, that's the other, like, this is Cancer 1, and it's water, water animals. So like Cancer 2 Sanctuary, and it's these cute little otters. I just love it. So I'm super excited. So, and also like astrology always feels like kind of remote and esoteric to me, and this deck makes it feel a little bit more down to earth and relatable, grounded, like that,
And more, I feel like, I mean, the one thing that has drawn me to it is it feels just, I don't know if applicable is the word, but like but that I can use it in a way. Like, I feel like if I really put my mind to it, the Deccan walk is something I could very well manage and learn to understand and apply in my practice. But for some reason in my head, I feel like, but Julie, shouldn't you learn the basics of just like astrology first? Like, the houses.
I'm not sure that you need to, though.
I mean, it doesn't seem like you do, actually. Just from like,
I've seen, you need to.
Yeah, I've seen videos from like Marlene and like, Don Michelle, they've done Deccan walk videos, and, other people as well. And it doesn't seem like you do, but I don't know. In my mind, I'm just like,
I feel like, but I might be wrong. I'm just going to leave that comment up so we can come back to it. But I feel like the Deccan walk, at least the way it feels like people are doing it, is more about deepening your knowledge of the tarot and deepening your knowledge of astrology.
That's a good point.
So from that perspective, I think it doesn't really matter whether you understand anything about astrology, as long as you can figure out when the vernal equinox, is it the vernal equinox it starts on?
It starts on the first day of Aries. So is that usually the vernal equinox? I'm not sure.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
So yeah.
As long as you know, you can Google when that is. You can pretty much figure it out.
So anyway, I'm very, very excited about that whole process. And yeah, Beth, in answer to your question, I honestly couldn't say because I don't own the Gentle Tarot. So I can see why there could be definitely like a sort of overlap in the feel of the artwork and that sort of thing.
I think so, yeah.
I don't personally own that deck. I think it's beautiful. It's one of those decks that I just haven't gotten for whatever reason. But yeah. So
So it's really interesting because Meg at Rose Honey Ritual is saying that Deccans are really an occult tool, and I feel like 36 Faces might be alienating. Interesting. Okay. I have no familiarity with 36 Faces or just Deccans in general. So very interesting. Okay. Cool.
All right. And I'm gone blurry, so I'm going to turn off my camera here for just a second. And now it's Julie's turn, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go over here. Okay, so my next deck, I think, I mean, I've shown this around, but sometimes I hesitate to show it because I think you can still buy it, but it's work to make it a deck, and it's this one here. I don't think there's even an official name to it. It's like, it comes from like a scratch and reveal activity book essentially. And so this was a
Oh,
gift.
yeah, I remember this.
This was a gift that a friend had given me for my birthday some years ago. And, you know, I don't know if the publisher really meant for this to be a usable deck. I made it into a usable deck. Like, you know, this came to me when I was going through, you know, a bit of a difficult time. And so this was very much just a project to just throw myself into, to distract myself. I wouldn't recommend this to anyone. I wouldn't recommend doing it. It's just, it wasn't, I mean, don't get me wrong.
Moving on.
Yeah, I love the final product. Like, I don't regret having done the work to do it, but like, it was work for sure. It was work to like scratch and reveal all of these like 78 cards. Like, then it's like it's, you know, that kind of perforated, so you have to tear them out, and then I corner rounded them, and so. But now I have a usable deck, so that's awesome, and I really actually love the look of this deck. I mean, I think this is a Julie deck. It's like quirky and colorful, and
It's been the whole conversation so far. I really love this deck. Don't buy it, but I really love this deck.
I love
don't
this
buy
deck, and
it.
you should never get it for yourself. So yeah.
No, I mean, look, you've been warned. Like, I can't. You have your own agency. Do what you want to do, but you've been warned. You have been warned, because, and I would feel bad, because I would show this, and I would say, like, in my videos, I'm like, this is work. This is work. And yeah, see, and then they come back to me in the DMs, and they're like, this is shit. Like, how did you manage to scratch this all off? I'm like ripping the cards, trying to like scratch away, you know, the surface. Like, I felt, I just would feel so terrible. And so I'm just like, PSA, do not get this deck. Do not get this activity book. But what I love about it is not only just the aesthetics of it, but it's a pip deck. And I love how I like how the titles are spelled out. You know me and my Roman numerals. I'm not a fan of Roman numerals, especially with like a configuration that looks like this, you know, a bunch of pips. And I want to use this for like March of the Pips. You know, I feel like I'm going to use this in March. Like, I want to kind of do like a month full of just like getting back into pip decks a little bit more, because I have several. So, and you know, this was one of my I did the deck reconnect tag last year, and this was one of them that I wanted to reconnect with, and I last year didn't get around to it. Didn't get around to it. So this year I really do, and I'm just going to make it part of like a bigger effort to do like March of the Pips or something like that. Because yeah, this is my jam for sure. So yeah, this is the activity book that you should not buy.
See, this is me. I would probably get like, because I get hyper focused, so I would do like 5 of the cards all in one sitting, and then never touch it again as long as
Oh my gosh. Well, Liz is saying she finished it. You did? Did you scratch them all off? Did you make it into a deck? Inquiring minds want to know, because I've not seen one other person or heard of one other person who actually like, made it through the frustration and like the elbow grease like needed to like actually make this into a deck. So.
Well, and also like, that's one of those things too, where it's like, that is a really cute deck. Whoever the artist is, like, they spent all that time making that really adorable deck, and it's not like published as an actual, which is sad, you know, like, that's super sad.
I know. I agree. She's getting shafted a bit, this illustrator, because like people are just going to give up on it. It's just a shame, because it is such I think a fun and quirky deck, and a way to you know, maybe introduce some people into pip decks who might not love the traditional look of, you know, the old school pip decks. Like, this has a little more of a fun, quirky flair to it. So, and you know, like, honestly, like, so I put contact paper on the back, and it actually shuffles, it riffle shuffles fine. And oh no, please don't.
Everybody's going to be buying this deck, and then everybody's going to be sending you hate mail.
I warned you. I warned you. I don't want to hear it when you are.
Liz enjoyed it. She says she enjoyed it. So, you know, if you enjoy a scratch off, then this is for you. So, yeah.
And you've been warned.
Yeah.
I've done my due diligence and I've given my PSA and you've been warned. So, I mean,
nobody can hold you responsible.
No one can hold you
on your own head, be it.
No one. And Liz, if you have any tips for how you were able to, because like people would come to me and be like, do you have like a technique or something? Because I'm just ripping all these cards, like trying to like, they do give you a wooden tool. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Look what you did to me, Julie.
Oh, so yeah, just don't, please. Just don't. Yeah. So
scratch off.
it was a lot of, you know, I mean, it was a nice distraction. It was a nice distraction, and I got a deck out of it that is usable in my opinion, and I do want to use. And I mean, I know I've asked you to this before, but because both of you do have pip decks, right? At least one or two. Because we all have Squid Cake, and but in terms of like, so I feel like there's always this conversation around like how you read pip decks, you know, like numerology, like should you just be reading them numerologically, or there are people who just use it as like another kind of RWS based deck, you know, and they just read the pips that way. And then there are some people who are like, especially for like the tradition, like the old school decks, they're like, no, they cannot be read with RWS. They cannot.
They don't work that way.
So yeah. I was wondering if you two have like established. I think Heather, you said that you just read them how you read all your decks, right?
Pretty much now. At the moment I do, because I don't like. I would really need to do some numerology stuff to really be able to read them in a different way. So I just treat them like RWS without really. And I do the same with off-base decks as well. Sorry, Sarah.
Oh,
no.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. For me, even when I'm reading with an RWS based deck, I do bring in
numerology,
numerological influences and information. So it's not all that different from the way that I read any deck, where it's like a little of everything. Honestly, is what goes into my reading, and it just sort of depends on. It depends on the reading. It depends on the other cards. It, you know, like if you're doing a reading and you get multiple 3s in the reading, that's important. That tells you something about the energy of the overall reading, and that comes from the numerology and not just the sort of like very specific like Rider-Waite-Smith meanings that people give to the RWS. So yeah, it works the same way for both, I guess, kind of. Really.
I agree, and I tend to do the same thing as well. So I don't actually Heather or Rachel. Hello, Rachel.
I know I've been meaning to get back to that comment. So hello, Rachel.
As a request for Sarah to do a review of Holoquest. Yes, we would love that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. When I'm done, I will, because it's been a fabulous experience so far. So yeah. And I have not heard of Oracle of the Mythical.
I haven't either.
No, I haven't.
Ooh, it's a Greek myth oracle that's Deckin focused.
Deckin. How do you actually say it? Does it?
I don't know. I've heard it both ways. I used to say it Deckin, and then I started hearing people saying it Deckin.
Same.
And then I thought, I've just been saying it wrong this whole freaking time. Okay.
I always assumed that it was Deckin because it's like decade, you know, it's like they're 10-day periods. And so it's like a Deckin, you know, so.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I always assumed
from the.
I mean, it's probably like a lot of words, and you can like tomato and tomato, for example. It probably depends on where you're from.
Sure. So Crazy Bunny Lady saying, yay, you bought your first pip deck in November. And I do not know how to read with it. Ladies, do you have any tips for like resources, you know, what books you've read maybe to start learning like the numerology or because I actually was reading some I would say kind of heavier Marseille books, like what is it? The Untold. Oh gosh, what was the one?
Oh, the
Something
Marseille
Untold.
Tarot. Do you mean the Marseille Tarot Revealed? That one?
Maybe that. Yeah. I mean, so I was
Mhm.
starting off with some books that were, I mean, they're okay. They're fine. I mean, I know that Tom Benjamin had
I
one
was
that
going to say
was,
Tarot on Earth by Tom
Tarot
Benjamin
on Earth.
is the most influential book for
Yeah.
me in terms of reading.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. I think that's a really
Yeah,
good.
actually, that was
and
the
it's
very first one.
very easy read. It's got
Mhm.
stuff for you to do. I would highly recommend that one personally.
So try that one, Crazy Bunny Lady, because yeah, that was actually the very first one that I picked up as well. And then after that one, when I was doing Marseille Study Part 2, then I picked up the
In
Reveal.
fact, we all picked that book up at the same time because
We did.
Lisa at Supportive Tarot did
Yes.
a like
She was doing a
group
study.
meeting where we were doing a study along together on her channel. God, that
Yep.
was such a long time
Oh my
ago.
God,
It was a long time ago. Yeah, this is years ago, but yeah, that it's a good book.
I
think.
agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. So,
So who's next? Me? Is it me?
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. Cool. So the next deck I have is also a project deck. It's homework. It's my homework from Sarah. And funnily enough, it is the Opinion Tarot with the Holoquest. Look at the
It was
size
on your wish list.
Look at the size of the book. It was on my wish list. She didn't just send it to me because she's mean. I didn't want it. So I am planning, hopefully, on doing that this year. That's something I want to do this year. Even if I only do, I don't know, like maybe do spring and see how it goes. And then if I don't do it all in one go in 1 year, it doesn't matter. But and I'm saying that because, again, of the way my brain works, I haven't even looked at the book yet. Not really. Like, I've flicked through it and gone, okay, I kind of have a feeling, an understanding of when I need to start looking at the book. But I won't actually do anything with it until then. But from Sarah, conversations with Sarah, seeing all the stuff that Candy did on Candy Soul and Soul and Soil.
Mm-hmm.
Soul and Soil. God, my brain went blank then. I think I'm going to really enjoy it, and I think I'm going to get so much value out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not sure how I feel about the actual deck, but I will use the deck for the Holoquest, so I think that will maybe end up, which is interesting. Sarah, do you think that, because did you like the deck anyway, or do you think doing the Holoquest changed your opinion of the deck?
Honestly, doing the Holoquest changed my opinion of the deck because, like, I had actually owned this deck before, and I had the version of the guidebook that didn't have the whole Holoquest course in it, and so I was just thinking of it as like an Arthurian tarot deck, right? And as between the Arthurian tarot and Legend the Arthurian tarot, I think Legend the Arthurian tarot is a better Arthurian tarot deck in terms of being more specifically tied to Arthurian legend. I like the artwork better. I wish that they would reissue it with some changes to like the borders and stuff like that. But that was the Arthurian deck I preferred, and so I had actually let the Arthurian tarot go. I had actually this it's the second time I've owned this deck. So but the course itself is just it's such a good experience doing the course. And I've said before, like, I don't know once I'm done with the course, which I'm, at the end of spring, I will be done. If this deck is going to like remain a big part of my practice or anything like that, or if it was really just a tool for doing the course. But the course in combination with the deck has been such a good experience that, it definitely has reshaped how I feel about the deck overall. So yeah, but the Legend, the Arthurian Tarot, like if you're interested in like an Arthurian Tarot deck where every card is like very specifically tied with a lot of information about it to a specific story, specific object, person, whatever location from the Arthurian Legend, the Arthurian Tarot is a better deck for that. So
right, okay,
for what it's worth, yeah.
Yeah, that seems to be like maybe that is a bit of a theme, that is it a deck that people will pick up once they finish the Holoquest?
Yeah. And I might not, honestly. But I've loved working with it for the and when you do the Holoquest, you spend an entire year with the deck, like working with it regularly and frequently. So it, I'll have gotten my money's worth of it, even if I never use it again. So
Yeah.
I see, now I have this problem too. I tend to go one of two ways. I'm either really, really disciplined and I can like stick to something for years, and or I do it for a little while and then I just get distracted by something new and shiny and exciting over here, and I forget that thing exists. But I think the beauty of the Holoquest is you do not have to do it in a year.
Right.
You can do a season and then you can put it down and not do it again, and for like a couple of seasons, and then you could do spring and then not do summer and autumn, and then decide to do winter, and then next year go back and do. You don't have to do it in order. You can start in any of the seasons. You can put it down, pick it up, like it's. And I think not having the pressure of having to do it all in one go is the kind of thing that will probably make me do it all in one go. because it just takes the pressure off. If I go into it thinking, oh my God, I've got to do this for a whole year, there's a good chance that 6, 8, 12 weeks in, I'll think I can't do this for a whole year. But if it's up to me, I can do a season. I don't have to do the next season. Then I probably will do the next season, because I'm contrarian. I need to feel like I have the choice.
Yeah, it's more flexible, and also like in terms of the actual time commitment, when you look at it gives you a schedule. If you do want to do it in a full year, it gives you a schedule, like what day you should be thinking about doing each lesson. You don't need to do it on that specific day. It's about one lesson a week, so it's not like it's this intensive daily thing or anything like that. It's the kind of thing where like about once a week you sit down and spend a couple hours with it, and that and do some journaling, and it's and there have been times when I haven't been able to get to a lesson in a week, and then the next week I did too, or like whatever the different lessons. Some are like more intense than other lessons. Some have much more involved spreads or guided meditations than other ones do. It's so it's, I don't know. I feel like it's not like as intense as it sounds for like a year-long endeavor. It's honestly, I've enjoyed, like, it's something that I've enjoyed. It's about, it's given me something to think about and journal about and self-exploration to do that is sort of a similar level of self-exploration that I might have just been doing anyway on my own, but it's in a more guided way, so yeah, I think it's doable. Like, I mean, I've done it. I have a temple full of discipline too. So like and I managed to pull it off. So I think it's not as intimidating as it seems, maybe. So.
Is this something that you could do again? I wonder if anyone has done this more, the Holoquest more than once, because it is just so, it's it's a year long, or it's intensive. I'm kind of curious to see if, like, would you, Sarah, would you think that this would be useful to do maybe some years down the line, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like it's a quest, right? Like the way that it's set up is it's like you are a seeker and you are going on a quest, and the quest is, it's going to be very much driven, like the questions that you have and the things that you're exploring are very much driven by what's going on in your life at that moment. And so yeah, if I did this again in 5 years or 10 years, I am sure my concerns and questions and things that I was wanting to explore would be totally different. And so you absolutely could do it again, and it would still be interesting and still reveal new things. So yeah.
I was saying, I think okay. Just, I was just curious because, something that intensive, it's like, yeah, this was great, and I never want to do it again. You know what I mean? But it seems like this would be something that, people would want to revisit.
No, it's very rewarding. And it's not like, obviously there's a lot of like thinking and journaling and things that you are like spending some time intensively reflecting on, but it's, I don't know, it's been very enjoyable for me. Like I've enjoyed it. I get excited. Like I'm like, oh sweet, I'm going to do my Holoquest lesson today. Like it's fun to sit down with my cards and my book and my journal and spend some time staring at the wall and doing the guided meditations, and like it's nice. It's really enjoyable. So yeah.
I mean, I would imagine for most people, I say this, I could be completely wrong. But that people who are drawn to that kind of journaling and using the tarot to pull insight out and all that kind of stuff, like who are looking at the Holoquest and saying, I want to do that, are the kind of people who are already doing that kind of stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just giving them a
structure
to put that stuff in.
The structure.
Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. There you guys. Man, words are hard. I'll just go with box because that's what I remember that. But yeah, so that is my project for the year.
So much fun.
Guys, just don't ask me about it. If I don't bring it up, don't ask me about it because it's not going well, or I've forgotten about it.
No pressure. There will be no pressure. I've pressured you enough just by giving it to you, so I will hold back as much as I possibly can.
Okay.
So I think we're back to Sarah again.
All right. So this is just kind of a fun deck that I just recently got, and I saw this on Catamancy Tarot on Johnny Keith's channel, Catamancy Tarot. And this is just a deck that I'm like looking forward to using in the summer because it's an oceany deck, and I was like, I have one ocean oracle, but this one looks different and cool, so I'm going to get another one. And this is the Seashell oracle. And I really like the art style of this deck. And I really liked how, like, it reminds me very much of the Saltwater Oracle, but just in like a different art style. And so I just really like this one. So it's got more of like a collage-y art style out of vintage images. But it has, like a name, but then it has some really good keywords at the bottom for each of the cards. And it kind of has. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you just hold it a bit higher? Because when you held it there, the keywords were underneath your name.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So, yeah. So it kind of has suits. So like there's an entire suit of seashells, and then there's an entire suit of just like oceany stuff, like foam, or moon. So just things associated with the ocean. There is a suit of like ocean associated creatures, like non-mollusk type creatures. So there's like gull, hermit crab, plankton, those kinds of things. And then there's a suit of like people associated with the ocean. So like beachcomber. And it's just the artwork is so pretty. I love this sort of like vintagey collage looking lighthouse keeper.
That's very pretty.
Yeah. And it's really pretty. And so I was sort of like, I saw this and thought that is a really pretty oracle. I really like it. So I am going to pick it up, and I did. And now I have it, and I will probably have it in summer. So there you have it. Like, it's pretty much that simple. I'm thinking I'll probably pair this maybe with like the Dame Darcy or something this summer. So the backs are really pretty. They are very simple. They have sort of just like sandy colored backs, but they have a spot gloss, like holographic seashell on them. So it's just such a pretty oracle. I love the artwork, and I really think it has good keywords, and so I'm just really looking forward to it. So that is the Seashell Oracle. There is not a lot more to say about it other than it's a nice seeming oracle. It does have a little guidebook. There's not a ton going on in the guidebook, but there's a little extra message for each card. And so yeah, that's another one that I'm looking forward to using.
Cool.
Yeah. Not too much else to say about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, Same with me with this one. I don't think there's like a lot to say other than this is one that I just haven't gotten around to using yet, and I want to give it a shot this year. And it's this polarizing deck called the Nicoletta Ciccoli Tarot.
I've been doing this for ages.
And so this is somebody was, rehoming some decks and asked if I, would be interested in this. And I'm like, well, and I didn't have any Ciccoli decks actually. I'd always been curious about them, but I don't know. I never pulled the trigger. But then like it's a mini also, like it's so that really kind of sealed the deal on that. I just haven't gotten around to using it. I don't know how it's going to work for me. I mean, of course, with a deck like this, you hear a lot about like, this is great for shadow work. And this is great for like inner child work, or maybe like childhood trauma work, like things like that. And I typically don't have like shadow work specific decks. I just feel like in just kind of my daily, working with tarot, the shadow work just organically comes when it comes kind of thing. So I don't necessarily do like dedicated shadow work, if you will. So I'm just curious how this is going to land for me, because obviously, once again, it is like kind of my cup of tea. I mean, we're seeing a theme here. But I'm not sure if it maybe leans a little too, I mean, I don't think sinister is the word, but I just feel like like a lot of the other kind of doll-like decks, I feel have like a kind of fun quirkiness to it. Whereas this, like the mood feels a little bit
darker.
Yeah. So then so I'm not sure how that's going to work for me. So just, this is a to be determined kind of thing. We'll see how it goes, because I don't really have any specific plans for it other than to see how it goes.
This is a good question. I love this deck. I don't know why I don't own this deck, because I'm like, I love that deck. It's so my taste.
It's so easy to see. I think so. Yeah. I think they did a really great job, actually. I have no problems. I think there's enough. I mean, I just feel like the colors are pretty rich and there's enough contrast. So I don't have any problems. It is so cute. I mean, just the size. Like I almost feel like, oh, even if I don't end up really using it, I can totally see myself just keeping it because it's so freaking cute size wise. But man, like, it's I don't know. I know that there are definitely polarizing opinions about this deck for sure, and just her artwork in general. But it's a curiosity thing. Let's see how this works for me. So
I don't mind the kind of sinister edge of the artwork, but it is big head, big eyes, and it's just not my thing. So I think it's beautiful artwork, but it's just big head, big eyes. It's just kind of a no go for me. So
totally get it. Is extremely fascinated by yes. Well, that would track. They kind of do look like they do.
Also,
have a theme.
Julie has a whole channel where she talks about her dolls. For anyone who doesn't know, she does actually have a whole channel for that.
I've been kind of absent, but lately, but I do plan to be back on there. But yes, thank you. These are called Pulip dolls. So they're Korean. They're a Korean doll brand, and they are dressed in their hanboks for the Lunar New Year. But yes, there's a theme. I love me some dolls. Hence, I love me some doll-like decks, decks that have, doll-like imagery and figures. Yes, I'm predictable. Yes.
Julie's doll channel is called The Doll Coven, and it's awesome. And so I think who's interested in dolls should check it out. Even though I am not interested in dolls, like big head, big eyes dolls, I always watch Julie's channel because I just enjoy her thoughts on dolls, and she's done some really cool stuff with them. So,
thanks.
Well,
I do want to get, I mean, I have been dabbling in like customizing dolls. And so I did finish one. And yeah, this year, you know, when the weather gets warmer, I might try for doll number 2. I don't have a vision for her yet. So I'm waiting. Yeah. So that's the Nicoletta Ciccoli Mini. And then next up.
So I don't have a lot to say about the other deck that I have either, but the other deck that I've got is the Phantomwise Tarot. So I got this deck while I was reading The Night Circus, because I was like, oh yeah, really exciting, because it is kind of like the not based on The Night Circus, but it's inspired by, it's the, you know, it's the author of The Night Circus is the creator of the deck, and I really thought I would like it, and then I felt very meh about it, but I did not finish the book because I felt very meh about the book. Like, the book was beautifully written, but the story was non-existent, and in my opinion, and I was bored, and I put this deck away, and for a while I was like, I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I don't know if I'm just going to give it to somebody else, or and it sits there and it looks at me, and I think maybe now there's a bit of a distance between me and the book. I wonder if that will change the way that it feels to read the deck.
Yeah.
So I think this year I'm going to get it out again, try it for however long I sit with it. I mean, last time I managed just under 2 weeks, and I was like, nah, I'm not feeling this. And then if it still doesn't work, then I know that this is a deck that just for whatever reason is not for me, and I can pass it on knowing that I gave it a good try. But I really love the way it looks. I love the monochrome. I love the artwork. I really love the like circusy vibe and stuff. I really want this deck to work. So I'm determined to try it again.
And this is a deck that's, I mean, it's inspired by the Night Circus, but I think it's supposed to be kind of standalone, right? Like you wouldn't have.
I think does it even? I don't even know if it says inspired by the Night Circus, or if it just says on the box from the author of the Night.
Yeah. So I mean, I think. I mean, I can certainly see the influences of that particular story just because circus. I mean, that's right. So, and like even the cover of the Night Circus is the monochrome, you know, and so I understand why people have that link, but I think it might be worth giving it a shot since you've had a break, you know, from.
Yeah, I think it maybe a bit of distance is.
It's pretty. It is pretty. And I actually go ahead.
No, go on after you.
No, I was going to say I really loved the Night Circus, and I didn't get that deck. I don't know why. Because people were saying, even people who love the Night Circus, whether they read it or they didn't read it, they loved it, they hated it. A lot of people were saying it kind of fell flat for them for various reasons. So
the deck, you mean?
The deck.
Yeah. Well, see, I would say when I read it the first time, we used it the first time, like, I think I would have described it as very pretty with very little substance. But that is also how I would describe the Night Circus. like Erin Morgenstern's writing is beautiful, and the locations and the descriptions and everything is beautiful. But for me, it feels like there's no substance.
Yeah, the book is a setting in search of a plot. It is. That was my opinion of the book too. Like I was like, when is the story going to actually start here? But this is so beautiful. Like, it's entertaining to read because the setting is so beautiful. But like, it felt like there was never any real story happening. That said, this deck is also beautiful. So I totally see where you're coming from. Like, I think this is a really beautiful deck. So.
Yeah, and it really is. And I really, like, as I say, it's another one where I'm just not quite ready to give up. Yeah. I just want to, I'm going to make it work, or not. And then I'm just going to go, okay, well, I'm going to end up doing what I do with books, and I'll just try it again every 6 months until somebody says it's not working, make it go away.
That's funny. Cool.
So, yeah.
So then did you two try reading another Erin Morgenstern book, The Starless Sea? I don't know if she has another one other than The Starless Sea or.
I have The Starless Sea on my Kindle because I bought it when it was like on sale. It was in one of those like Kindle on sale emails. So it was like $1.99. So I bought it to give it a try. I haven't started it yet, but I'll give it another try. I loved her writing. Again, like it wasn't that I didn't enjoy the Night Circus, because there were elements of it I enjoyed. The setting is marvelous and it's magical and it's wonderful. It was just like, it just felt like there wasn't much of a story. You know, there was like no plot. I wanted that book to be a TV show because I felt like the visuals of it would be so incredible. And then maybe they could actually make the plot a little bit more of a through line than it was in the book, you know? But yeah, I would give her writing another try for sure. So
I did read The Starless Sea, and I mean, and I finished it. And then after that, I was like, I don't know what I just read. Like, it was so convoluted, you know, and it was, again, I felt like one of those books that are trying to be smarter than I am, you know, and it's like unnecessarily just twist, you know, just in terms of like the subplot and like, you know, just how things link together. But structure wise, it was just, it did not feel cohesive at all. But, and again, because her writing's so beautiful, and like, especially with the Night Circus, like, yes, I love the setting and I loved the character so much that made up for kind of, you know, where maybe the book was lacking for me. I just really enjoyed it. But with The Starless Sea, I mean, I finished it. So there's that. I did finish it.
I mean, I would try it again. I think her writing is lovely and it's easy to read. I didn't find her characters interesting at all. I thought she lacked any characterization personally, or any stakes or any plot. I mean, there was a lot about it that I just didn't get on with. I didn't finish it, and I was incredibly bored.
And I don't know that you'll like The Starless Sea, because
so I wonder if Starless Sea, I'm just going to have the same problem where I'm just,
that's like 5 times longer too. I mean, it's a mammoth of a book, and I feel like just even, I don't know. Anyway, so hello.
3 Girls, 1 Book. We never done a 3 Girls, 1 Book.
No.
So, which we could do, because like we're always like constantly influencing each other in terms of what books we read, and so we like end up reading the same stuff.
Yeah, and we don't, as you can quite clearly see, we don't always agree either. Coming away from them with very different views sometimes.
So yeah, we'll have to think about that.
Yeah,
I love that idea.
Yeah.
All right.
Sarah, do you have another?
I don't have another. So if either of you guys want to go ahead, then
Heather, do you have another?
No.
Okay.
No. Do you have another?
I mean, I have one more, but I don't really. It's one everyone's seen before, so I mean, I can give it a quick shout out, I guess.
Yeah, give it a quick shout out.
It's this one, The Wild Unknown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never saw this as being a deck for you.
I'm not sure that it is, and so I'm right. Well, so look, because there's so much. Again, this is another deck where I feel like, you know, people love it or they hate it. There's just so much talk around it, right? And so someone was rehoming this deck, was not for her, and she offered it to me, and I thought, why not? This is a great opportunity to give it a shot, because it's this is the mass market edition, and yeah, I think I tried to use it a little bit last year, and I just wasn't feeling it, so I put it away. I love the artwork. You know, it is of course an animal deck, and so, you know, as someone who touts that they don't use animal decks, I have this along with many others. So I mean, and also what I did was actually I did go ahead and modify this deck to add color to that was one thing that was jarring for me, that, you know, a lot of these, most of the cards would have like some splash of color, but then you would have a few that didn't have any color, and that bugged me for some reason. So then like this is one of them, and it's very subtle, but like I colored the background in with blue. Like little things like that. And then there are other cards that of course I didn't touch, like they were fine, but it's, you know, just mainly just like adding, you know, more color or something like that. But anyway, so I am just not sure about it. So I want to give it like a proper try to see if this is for me or not, because I don't know. And also I went through the trouble to like color it in, and I don't know who would want it if I passed it along, but
I mean, people do. People like getting modified decks, don't they?
yeah. Okay. Well, so yeah, I don't know. I just don't know about it yet. And the jury's out. I mean, I hear the book sucks, so I won't even bother with the book. I mean, yeah, this is like, you've all seen this before. So I just, yeah, we'll see.
I don't think the book sucks necessarily. I mean, I don't.
Oh, really? That's what people have told me. Like, don't bother with the book. It sucks.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay.
But you know, so like, yeah, here's another one where I just like colored in the fox, you know, just little things like that. So yeah, that's another one where I want to give it a decent shot before I give a final verdict on it, because yeah, to your point, it's not normally one that I feel like I only gravitated toward it because like so many people just well, I mean, it's an influential deck, you know, and I think also I've seen enough people who are like, yeah, I did not think I would like this deck. I did not think this deck would be for me. And damn if I love this deck, you know? So
yeah.
So and it was a gift. It was free. So why not?
Yeah. No reason not to give it a try. Yeah, I had that deck for a while. It wasn't for that deck. For me, I loved her Animal Oracle, and I did have that deck for quite a while, but I stopped using it as much because I got the Sawyer's Nature Portals, which I use more. So I don't really use. So I let go of the Animal Oracle, but yeah, Wild Unknown was just never for me. So yeah, just wasn't my thing.
Again, I enjoy the aesthetic of it, and but I just don't.
The 9 and 10 of Swords. The 9 and 10 of Swords in that deck stressed me out so much.
Well, so then I think, yeah. Well, so then with the 10 and Marlena, I always enjoy coloring my decks. This is not the first time that I've colored a deck. And so I definitely enjoyed it. And then I think, yeah, with the 10, because it was, it's a hard card, so I put a rainbow background on it to kind of give it a little bit of like, okay, yeah, this sucks really hard, and also, you know,
interesting.
It paves way for perhaps a new beginning, or you know, a different way to see this.
What did you do to the 9? Because the 9 is the worst one for me.
What's the 9?
The 9 is the one. It's like there's like eyeballs and like worms.
Yeah. No, I just see. Really, I did not. That didn't bother me, and I just freaking colored in the eyeballs.
Oh wow, that card, it just stresses me out so much. It yeah.
I think I just went ahead and colored in the eyeballs.
Yeah.
These eyeballs need coloring in, and I'm not really an eyeball person. Like I don't love them, and I don't like hate them. I mean, I do understand why that was like a confronting card for sure. Yeah. And then I'm just like, well, I guess I can just color in the eyeballs. So, and of course I can't find it, but yeah, I do remember that card.
Yeah, I would probably have done the same. Just been like, I'll just color in the eyeballs. Yeah, I will. I mean, I like refractive surgery. If I've got a problem with eyeballs, we're in trouble.
I made one blue and I made the other green.
Yeah, see that just oh man. That card is just, I think too, that the thing about those two cards, like, you know, I know that there's like there's violence in nature, right? Like there's the card with the decomposed bird and stuff like that. Like, yes, there's violence in nature. That card and the 10 of Swords are like not natural violence. It's like,
I mean, because the human eyeballs, like,
it's human eyeballs. There's like a bull stabbed through the eye with a sword. Like so those are beyond just like the confrontational nature of just nature itself. Those like are even more confronting, you know. So I never liked those cards.
I also just don't think it's that unusual to be freaked out buy eyeballs with swords in them.
Yeah.
I think
Totally.
that's a pretty normal reaction to have. And most, like, lots and lots and lots of people are freaked out by the idea of needles in the eye, or, you know, getting things in your eye and stuff. It's a fairly common
for sure
thing that people have. So it's, I think it's, I mean, it's meant to be confronting, I guess. So it does its job, but
exactly. And so in those cards, it's like, oh, let me put some pretty colors in it, maybe to help
make it
that
feel.
Doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me, because that's fine. That is what happens.
This bothers me less.
Yeah, that is what happens in nature. That's like a normal thing. But like a pile of eyeballs and worms is like not something you normally see on the side of the street. So it's just
for sure. So I agree. And it's really interesting because I am actually really sensitive to like depictions of animals being, you know, hurt or killed in a unnatural way, which is why certain decks, like for instance, I think the Brady Tarot, like there are a couple cards that really I just couldn't. But interestingly for this one, and I don't know, again, because it's so sketchy, where something, you know, so maybe that was the thing that was able to give me a little bit of distance. And then also my trying to like remedy it by giving some pretty colors, you know, whether that works or not, I don't know. We'll see when I use it. But so Crazy Bunny Lady was asking, what did I use for the coloring? I just used Sharpie. So Sharpie marker, and there's like a very fine point, or extra fine point, I think is what it's called. So just usually when it comes to coloring decks, for me, Sharpie is the way to go, because it is permanent and it's easy to actually correct. If the cardstock is good enough, you can just take a little bit of acetone and, you know, correct any mistakes if you just gently apply. It depends on the cardstock, but I do love me a Sharpie for modifying decks and coloring on them. So yeah, jury's out. We'll see.
Be interested to hear how you get on, because it just it doesn't strike me as a deck for you, but
right. Yeah. And so but I don't know. I mean, I put the effort into like modifying it, so I feel like, you know, I'll give it a good old try, and then
sometimes things surprise you, don't they? I've got decks. I think we've all got decks. We've all shown decks before where we're like, this should not work for me on any level, and yet I freaking love it.
Well, it's true. I never thought I'd love the Deviant Moon, you know.
I
love that deck, you know. So but yeah, I did have Wild Unknown, and I tried it, and I know for a fact it is not for me. So,
fair enough.
All I know. I'm sorry, like there's lots of eyeball averse people in the
no, I know Laura is I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
She's just like, no eyeballs for me.
No, thank you.
I mean, and there's that one deck. Is it Mind's Eye Tarot, or there's a deck with a bunch of eyes, and the artwork is otherwise beautiful, I think, in my opinion. And honestly, I did not think the eyes would bother me. Like, I did not think I had like an eye aversion, but apparently I do. Apparently there's a threshold, and that deck crossed the threshold.
Yeah. So. Maybe we're all a little eye averse, and it's just how much. It's just finding your limit where you're like, nope, I'm done. That's too far.
It's not even they mind eyes, you know, like if somebody has like a third eye in an illustration or something like that doesn't bother me as much. But actual like eyeballs separate from a body, like laying on the ground, that's a little much for me.
Yeah. Laura's saying exactly the same thing. I'm not bothered by them. I just want them to be where they belong. Which is fair, which I think is completely fair.
Yeah, it's totally fair. Yep. You know, we all have our things. So
I agree. Yeah. I can't argue with that. I would ideally like for the eyeballs to be in someone's head, and
and you know, just two of them.
And just two of them.
Ideal. Maybe 3 at a push, but if we have to.
For sure.
Yeah. This is not a group of people who wants biblically accurate angels. Like, no. Like with eyes everywhere.
No
Randomizing wings everywhere.
No thanks. Yeah. Yeah, the Terra del Fuego, a bunch of eyeballs. Eyeball City is what Marlene is saying.
It does.
Wait,
It does have that, yeah.
But Sarah, wait, I thought Heather had, I thought you had.
I do have it, but I'm not bothered by eyes.
Oh, you're not? Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah.
And I watch eye surgeries as part of my job. I'm
That's right. That's
eyes
right.
don't freak me out at all anymore.
Yeah.
But
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so I think we are done.
Sweet. Nice work, ladies. All right.
I'm sorry, I'm just fighting with my dog. Hang on a minute.
Well, so should we say when our next one? We decided our next one is going to be March 2nd, right? Is that right? March 2nd on my channel.
Sarah's channel. Yeah.
So yeah, keep an eye out for that. And we also
go ahead. 3 Girls 1 Monthly catch up will be available on my channel in the next couple of days. It's been filmed. I'm just in the process of getting it like shareable. So keep an eye out for that.
It's so long.
It was very long.
Yeah, we hadn't caught up in a while, so there are a lot of tangents on the internet.
No one else needs to hear. Not because it's weird or uncomfortable. It's just because for everybody else, it would be really, really dull.
Yeah. So good luck to Heather in editing that down.
Yay! Woo. So other than that, I think we're done. I don't know how to do the card, but if one of you ladies want to put the card up, then
there we go.
Cool. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Everyone.